all the stakeholders, both the people who make policy and the people who are affected, educators, the students, and the parents. Everybody needs to be on this together. Yeah. You can't just have one sector determining and dictating what's going to happen. The people who are affected, they need to have a say too.
Because in that report we just played, you did hear Mr. President say that what El-Rufai is doing, the Kaduna State Governor, is what he told him about 10 years ago. So one would think that perhaps this is the right way to go. Or do you think perhaps if sacking 22,000 teachers will solve the problem, will that be the way to go? Or is sacking 22,000 teachers not the way to go?
I really do believe in excellent standards. Anyone who knows me knows that I constantly strive and talk about excellence a lot. However, if you're sacking 22 teachers, we should remember, where are you going to get the people who are going to replace them? Do you have structures in place to recruit staff that is highly qualified, really trained, ready to step in right now? If you don't have that, then you need to sit down and map out intervention. And there are a group of us that are working on this right now. We have to map out intervention that is going to be able to help us to raise standards so that we can get back to being excellent like we used to be back in the days.
Well, you're hands-on on some of these challenges out there. Could you tell us, what are some of the challenges you've experienced in education in this country?
First of all, I have to address the budget, because I just heard them talking about the budget in passing. We have 7% of our GDP allocated to education, and we're saying that we want to move forward as a nation. In my research, I found that at the UAE, Dubai, their allocation is 20%. That of South Korea is 15%. And you wonder why these nations are making such strides right now, why the rest of the world is looking up to them and seeing how they're doing excellent. South Korea, they are leaders in mathematics and science right now. Before we came on, I was talking to you about STEM education. The rest of the world knows that STEM education is the future. All the phones that we all use now are mostly manufactured and modeled in South Korea, and we all use them. That goes to tell you that they're doing something right. So if you want to see, for me, whenever you're working and you're trying to become like somebody, you ask yourself, what are the things that person is doing right? Of course, you're not going to copy everything the person is doing, but you see what the person is doing right, and then you try to model after some of it. Of course, you have to adapt for your own situation and your own environment.
Because it seems to suggest to a lot of people that this has to do with system change. And the curriculum that we have and the one that we run as a country, and perhaps looking at the best ways to see that we have things that are specifically modeled towards the needs of our people. How much have your organization, maybe sister organizations, since you're non-government based, how much of that have you been able to pass across, just so that we have an understanding that perhaps we need to change and get more results?
Curriculum. Just a month ago, I was with the president of the Science Teachers Association in Nigeria, and we were discussing our curriculum in Nigeria.